Welcome back to another episode of the Liberated Woman podcast. I am so pleased that you are joining me once again for another episode full of feminine wisdom and nuggets and droplets of activations and awakenings for your heart, your soul, and your womb. I am here for your wild liberation. As always, my name is Shani. So grateful that you can join me today. And in today's topic, we are going to dive right into the topic of why choosing your environment is really important to your energy as an awakening woman, and how to really tune into whether the environment that you are surrounded by is actually draining you or uplifting you and serving you. So stay tuned for lots of nuggets of wisdom and information around how you can tune into the environment which you are surrounded by. And I think this is a really important topic because as you are awakening into your feminine, as you are healing, as you are going through a journey where you are essentially stripping back the layers of conditioning and programming that you have had placed on you all your life, you will find that your desire for different environments and different people and places and situations start to change. And it can feel quite difficult at times when you are living in an old paradigm of a version of yourself that you once were, or people knew you as that version of yourself, but that those environments, those places, and those people and those situations no longer feel right for you. And as you are going through this awakening journey, you really want to use your discernment to tune into, does this environment suit me anymore? Whether it's your job or your friendship group or the house that you're living in or the place that you're living in, the city or the country, or even whether you are surrounded by nature or you're living in a city, or just anything that you will find in your environment that may be now no longer suited to the person that you are becoming as you awaken. So your environment really can consist of quite a number of things. It can be, as I described, your house, like your microcosm environment, right? Like what you have in your house, how you decorate your house, what's available to you in your house. And then we're expanding out from that, like, where do you live? Is it in a city? Is it in the country? Is it in a place where you feel that there are lots of opportunities for you, community for you, or do you feel quite isolated and alone? If we expand it even further, is the country suitable for you? Is the weather suitable for you? Does it offer you opportunities for expansion and growth, or do you feel quite stagnant? Then we can expand it even further, looking at different parts of your life. Is it your job and your work environment? Does your career or your job or the people you work with, does that environment suit you as you are awakening? Do they understand you? Do you feel like you can be yourself, or do you feel like you are constantly hiding parts of yourself in order to fit into a life that you once had the way that they once knew you? And the same goes for friendship groups. Do your friends support you, understand you as you're going through this journey? Do they want to know a little bit more, even if they're not going through the same as you? Are they curious? Do they want to know? Are they there to question and support? Or do they mock and tease? Or do you just find that being in their presence is quite toxic for you? These are all questions that you can ask yourself. The same goes for romantic relationships. Is this person evolving with you, growing with you, expanding with you? Are they curious about your journey, or are they scared of it? Are they fearful of it? Do they want to understand? Can you let them be a part of that understanding? So your environment can really encompass so many things. And within this idea of environment is the idea of currency of your energy. So there are two questions that I would really invite you to consider when we are exploring this topic. And the first question is, does the environment that you currently find yourself in, whether it be your home, work, relationships, career, friendships, does that environment support you and keep you safe? but also allow you to expand and grow and uplift you? Or does that environment deplete you, drain you, and leave you feeling like you haven't got that room for expansion, and you end up feeling quite stagnant, lethargic, tired, and resentful? Those are the two questions that I'd really invite you to consider today as we go through this episode. Now, I've spent a lot of time living in different places, different countries. I've lived in 3 countries, many different cities around the world. And as I've evolved into different versions of myself, I have found those environments suit me for a certain period of time for the version of myself that I am in that moment. But I have also found that as I have been spiritually awakening, as I have come into more a space of more liberation in my feminine, as I've been working on healing my inner masculine, my inner feminine, as I have discovered new communities, new people, new relationships, new boundaries within myself, new desires, new needs, I have found that a lot of the environments that previously I could be okay in and would serve me to a point no longer serve me. And the way that I've discerned this is through the currency of my energy levels and the currency of how my body feels in these environments. So, as always, I'm going to take you back to the body. What does your body desire? And how does your body feel in these environments? If you are walking into a job every single day, and as soon as you walk into that building, your body contracts, or you feel some sense of anxiety, maybe heart palpitations, maybe physical tension in the body, maybe just a feeling of draining of your energy, you have to question whether you are staying in that environment for financial stability because you feel scared to leave because you think there's nothing else out there for you, or whether you are staying there because you are afraid to disappoint somebody or let somebody down, whether it's your parents or your partner or your friends or even yourself, or whether this environment uplifts you, where your voice gets to be heard, where you have opportunities for expansion and growth, where you have opportunities to evolve, where your awakening journey aligns with the opportunities that you get to receive within this environment. And even on a more basic level, if you're walking into that space, like, does the actual decor around you drain you or uplift you? For example, I know that when I walk into certain buildings or certain rooms and they are decorated in a certain way, I get an immediate like, ick, no way, I can't stay in here. This doesn't feel good for my soul at all, especially if that building is dark, if it's a lot of dark colors, if there's very little light or like natural light. I really struggle in those environments. So to me, I love to be outdoors. I love to see a lot of light in my eyes. I love sunshine. I love simple, beautiful, kind of bohemian, boho, chic-y decor, or really gorgeous, vibrant colors like you might find in Morocco or Mexico. Like, those are my two kinds of vibes that I find really uplift me and make me feel great in the space. But if I walk into a building and there's like fluorescent lighting, lots of gray, dark colors, not a lot of natural light, and it feels quite sterile and chemical, my whole body just contracts and I just feel like, absolutely not. This does not suit me. So I couldn't work in a place like that. It would just deplete me, really, really, truly deplete me. So ask yourself these questions around, where are you going every day, and do those places uplift you, make you feel expansive and full of growth, or do they deplete you and drain you? And it's the same when you're going out with friends. A lot of women who come to me for one-to-one work in the Liberated Woman journey express to me, I don't think like my friends really understand me anymore. I don't really feel like I want to hang out with them. Maybe those friends display behaviors that were once a part of the lifestyle that you had chosen. It could be that they really enjoy going out partying, or they enjoy going out drinking, or perhaps they're into taking more risks than you, or maybe they enjoy taking party drugs or whatever it is. And perhaps you are no longer in that place, or at least you're trying to get out of an environment like that, out of a lifestyle like that. And going back into that environment with them drags you down. And then you go into some kind of shame spiral around like, oh, I don't want to go back into that space. It doesn't feel good for me, but I don't really know who else to hang out with. Or you get pulled back in because that's a lifestyle that you used to live. And as you awaken into your feminine, you might find that you don't want to drink alcohol anymore, for example. You might find, I don't really want to go to bars and clubs and places where people are smoking and the vibe is really low, and I can't really have a depth of conversation, and it's quite shallow and superficial, and it's all about looks and how you present yourself. Those sorts of places might no longer suit you. And if that's where you used to hang out with your friends, that you are now searching for something more, maybe something more meaningful, something deeper, something with more purpose, something that lights you up from the inside. So just being mindful again of, not necessarily leaving those friends behind, but just being able to have boundaries around saying, thank you so much for the invitation to go out. This kind of environment doesn't really suit me anymore, and I would prefer to hang out with you one-to-one. Let's go to the park for a walk, or let's go to the cafe for a coffee, or whatever it is. And just being mindful of where you might be getting dragged back into situations that once served a version of you, but no longer serves the version of you that you are becoming during this awakening journey. And it's the same in relationships. Like if your partner is not growing with you and you feel like you are outgrowing your partner, is this a relationship that you feel will allow you to be the version of you that you are becoming? Do you feel like that person is going to grow and expand and evolve with you? And are you comfortable with the fact that they may not, because their path is different to yours? And are you able to stay in an environment that you might feel keeps you small, or keeps you in a place of stagnancy rather than expansion and growth? Because, there's been a lot of research and a lot of studies around that we become the 5 or 6 people that we are closest to or most surrounded by. And I have definitely found that living in different cities and different countries in the world, that although I am a different version of myself than I was then, the people that I did surround myself with had a huge impact on how I felt about myself, my journey, the opportunities that I received, and the energy levels that I had. And I have found that when I am surrounded by people who are constantly talking about ideas and innovations and big sky thinking, and they're visionaries and they want to create and they're proactive and ambitious, when I'm surrounded by those people, because I'm naturally inclined to be that way, that's my natural blueprint. I love to talk about ideas and creations and put events on and create magical experiences for people. I live for that shit. Like if I'm surrounded by people like that, I feel really in my element. I feel very passionate, uplifted. You'll see it in my eyes, you'll see it in my face. There'll be a big grin on my face. But when I'm surrounded by people who are constantly talking about how difficult life is, how they've got no money, how difficult the world is, and they're always in a process and they're always in a crisis, and life is so hard and it will never be for me and I'll never be able to do it, and the energy feels very draggy and heavy. When I've been surrounded by people and environments like that, I find myself getting dragged down and heavy and depleted. And so you really need to check in with yourself and tune into like, well, who am I surrounding myself by? Because it's the same idea as like, what am I putting in my body? What food am I consuming? What drink am I consuming? Because if you're making a choice to eat McDonald's every day and it's like super cheap, low vibe, nasty shit, your body's going to feel shit, right? Whereas if you're nourishing yourself with delicious, wholesome food that serves you and gives you the energy, you're going to feel alive. You're going to feel great. So it's really important that you're tuning into, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are those people supporting you? Do you have a sisterhood? Do you have a group of women, a community around you, and men too, that can really support you? And that's why when the women come to my sacred sisterhood circles, they feel so uplifted at the end. It's so transformative because they're surrounded by a group of women who are on the same or similar journey to them, who truly listen and hear them, who understand them, who reflect things back to them. And they feel really safe in that environment to be themselves and to know, like, hey, I'm not alone on this journey. And it's totally okay to feel the way that I do. Whereas when they go back into their day-to-day environments, they might find that their partners or their husbands or their girlfriends or their work colleagues don't really fully understand who they're becoming, and it can feel quite jarring and quite difficult. And it's the same with even the natural environment you're surrounding yourself with. Like if you look out of your bedroom window and you're seeing houses and bricks and walls and you're not seeing a lot of nature, is that affecting you without you even realizing it? Because you'll probably notice the difference if you are someone who loves nature and loves to see green and color and vibrancy, and you go to a place like that, you'll notice how different you feel. Now, it's not always easy just to simply change our environment just like that. Of course, there are other factors to consider. But as an awakening woman, you are the creator of your life. And as you're going through this journey into your wild liberation, you get to create a different paradigm, a different way of living. You get to create the life that you desire on your terms. And so these questions are really important for you to tune into and for you to connect with as you are on this journey. So the two questions that I really would love you to take away from today's episode is, does the environment that I'm surrounding myself in uplift me, expand me, awaken me, activate me, and make me passionate, uplift me, give me energy? Or does the environment that I'm surrounding myself with drain me, deplete me, and leave me feeling tired, lethargic, unmotivated, perhaps apathetic? And you can do a journaling exercise around this and just write down, like, who are the 5 people that you're most surrounded by? And it's not to judge those people because they're going through their own journey, right? It's not to judge them or blame them or make them feel bad in any way, but it's really to tune into your own journey of awakening and say, well, hey, actually, shit, I'm surrounding myself with people who are not that great for me at this moment in time. Maybe I can take a step back and find a different community, a different group of people who can support me through this. Doesn't mean you have to let go of those friends or that relationship entirely or the job, but it's just having discernment and understanding and awareness around it. And then I would really encourage you to journal around, what is your ideal environment? Like if you could wake up every day and be in your optimal environment, the optimal, what you are surrounded by, what you're consuming, whether that is online, in person, food, drink, colors, textures, events that you go to, people you're surrounded by, the job that you're at, etc. If you can just journal on what is your ideal environment and just really get clarity around that, then you'll start to notice where you're living out of alignment with that. And you can start to call in more of the environment that you truly desire. Because after all, your energy is your currency. And if your energy is depleted and your energy feels low and your energy feels out of whack and out of sync, you're not going to be able to live your most wild and liberated life because you won't have the energy to do it or the motivation to keep creating what it is that you desire. And this is something that I help my women with in the one-to-one liberated women journey. We spend a lot of time digging out the weeds from the roots, really diving deep into the deep held beliefs, this trauma that's stored in the body at a cellular level, working our way through unpicking that and unraveling that, removing shame, working with our grief, working with rage, working with anger, working with anxiety, or working with low self-worth and esteem. Working through all of that to get to a point where, hey, I can call in the clarity, I can call in the vision, the dream of what it is that I actually desire now. Like, I understand what's been keeping me in shackles. I understand what's been keeping me in chains. I'm breaking those chains, and now I can focus on what it is that I truly want to call in. I've got 2 spaces opening up for my one-to-one Liberated Women program, and I would love to support you on your journey to becoming a wild and liberated woman. If you feel like actually everything that you've been saying today, Shani, makes perfect sense to me, and I'm really resonating with this, and I feel a bit stuck, and I don't really know how to change. And I know that there are things in my life that I really desire to make a change with, but I just don't know how to do it. And I need the guidance, I need the support. Then sister, reach out. I've got a free chemistry call that you can book onto. The link is in the show notes. You can hop on a call with me and we can work through whatever it is that's going on for you to see how I can best support you through this beautiful journey of the liberated woman, where I use breathwork, somatic embodiment tools, and coaching, energetics, light language, energy clearing, a whole bunch of magical fun to support you on your journey to becoming a wild and liberated woman. I really look forward to taking you on this journey. So go ahead and sign up for that chemistry call if you feel like this is calling you. And I look forward to tuning in with you again next week for another episode of the Liberated Women podcast. Until then, have a magical day.